What's up guys, welcome back to a new Ragnarok chapter review. Today we have chapter 45, titled Zero's Grief. As always, links can be found in the Discord linked in the description. And yeah, this chapter mainly consisted of backstory rather than the actual fight, which was a bit disappointing. Mainly considering it's been a few chapters of just setup for this fight of Zero vs Buddha rather than the fight actually beginning. And considering Ragnarok is a monthly manga, it's been a few months since we've actually seen a fight in the story. But overall, a solid chapter all around, I'd have to say. Now, onto the review. The chapter begins with Zero stretching like a madman, with characters assuming there's something off about Zero, and we have him thinking about, killing Buddha. That's his main goal here, with him actually pulling out a weapon that he's going to use during this fight. Last chapter in my prediction video as well, I wasn't really sure how Zero was going to fight. I was maybe thinking he was going to use hand-to-hand combat, or maybe the beads on his hair would represent some powers like the 7 deadly sins. Each bead would be one power. But he spawned a weapon from his body, which is a cool looking axe. Probably one of the coolest weapons we've seen so far in the story. I think this weapon even rivals how cool Thor's hammer was. So I really do like Zero's weapon here. It looks pretty badass and, scary. And then as expected, we cut to Hermes and Ares. We got Ares saying the following. There's a god that's sinister here in Valhalla. So that's Zero. I've heard rumors of Zero. So Hermes is pretty excited about seeing Zero here. Out of disaster can come blessing. So he knows the origin story of Zero, as we'll learn in short time in the backstory. But yeah, it shows that Hermes, I'm guessing is excited because Zero is meant to be strong. So that's pretty cool. Or he could have other evil motives about being excited for this. And Ares, of course, is clueless like always. So we have Zero being an absolute crazy dude. And then the referee getting contacted by the higher up gods. We don't know exactly who. He just said that scared me from the higher ups, showing that round 6 will be Buddha versus Zero rather than Buddha versus the lead lucky god. So it confirms that Zero is the fighter for the gods here. We got him introducing the two sides, so fighting for humanity, the absolute mad lad Buddha, and then fighting for the gods, the absolute crazy mad lad Zero. Then we cut to Gull and Brynhilde, with Gull asking questions about Zero. Any number of gods combining sounds way too insane. And then we get Brynhilde revealing something interesting. No, the 7 lucky gods were only a temporary form. This is the first time seeing it as well, but Zero is indeed the original form. So as I mentioned in previous videos, I assumed that maybe each 7 lucky god was separate kinda, but this completely confirms that these 7 lucky gods were Zero originally but split into 7. So these 7 lucky gods aren't really full power lucky gods on their own, but now that they're all together, it makes Zero one strong lucky god rather than 7 weaker lucky gods, which is decent. But also considering that Bishamon was a representative for the gods alone, so he may be way above all the other lucky gods. But it seems that it isn't 7 full power lucky gods fused together, it's just 7 weaker gods fused back into their original form. Then we go into Zero's backstory, showing him before he became corrupt due to, humanity's, evils, which I'll get into soon. With him just wanting to help people who are suffering. We see him going into this town where people are dying from various diseases, no food, there's various other issues going on in the world, showing that he has an ability to pretty much take people's pain, or take people's misfortune, you could say, and absorb it. So we have a kid here who's pretty much dying. We've got Zero who comes in and uses his hand to absorb the misfortune or the, disease or whatever it is. We see his hand get all bloody, showing he does take a pretty decent amount of damage, but the kid is all fixed. And he continues to do this in this town and pretty much all over the world for many years, taking the pain of everyone, because him helping others is what truly made Zero happy at this point. So he continued to do this for years and years until everyone around him was assumed to be happy, and we get to see Zero's destroyed body after all this. But even though he has this destroyed body, he's gone through all this pain, he's happy because he pretty much achieved his goal of helping humanity. Then after some time, he decided to return to the original village that he saved with his ability. He went there to see that everyone has changed. The more they had lost sight of happiness and fell into depravity without fail. So they were actually, better people when they were dealing with misfortune rather than what they are now. And as Zero is realizing this, he gets knocked to the ground by a man, and we realize it's the grown-up kid that he originally saved, who has knocked Zero to the ground, doesn't remember Zero whatsoever, and calls him filthy and actually spits on him and walks away, which, leaves Zero absolutely destroyed. That he went through all this pain to save humanity, to take all the misfortune away, and this is how they repay him. So he's pretty much broken, which results in him starting to turn evil. And then something surprising I didn't really expect to happen in this backstory. We actually see Buddha when he was a human during the same time span that Zero was taking everyone's misfortune, with Zero seeing all the people following Buddha in this scene being stuck with misfortune, but their faces show that they are filled with joy and that they are actually happy regardless of the misfortune they have. So Zero's many years of taking everyone's misfortune to make sure they're happy seems to have failed, and that Buddha doing what he has done has actually created a new way of, acquiring happiness for people. And Zero, pretty much once seeing this, can't believe it, that all this pain he's took over this many years has become worthless, and that this other person has done it in a better way than what he ever could. And this results in Zero to break, talking about how he's worked himself like crazy, trying to absorb all their misfortune. This is him talking to Buddha when he was a human. And then we got Buddha's absolute mad lad response. Absorb their misfortune, that ain't right. Happiness ain't something you can give to other people. It's something you gotta attain yourself. So as we know, Buddha's walking down the path of enlightenment and all his followers are doing the same. And Zero pretty much can't understand this, can't believe what he's saying, and pretty much acquires a grudge against Buddha. So his whole reason for hating Buddha so much in the current timeline of the story is because Buddha's way of thinking has allowed people to achieve happiness, while Zero's, power has failed. In turn, he's pretty much just jealous of Buddha. There's no real other major reason to it. He's just jealous that a human at the time was more successful than a god like him, and that's results in him turning into the current Zero we see, and the evil Zero, you could say. And then we see evil Zero going to kill some humans, and as he's trying to kill someone, this is where he transforms into the 7 lucky gods, talking about how that was close and that they would have given divine punishment to all of humanity if they didn't split into 7 here, and that them splitting into 7 pretty much saved humanity because their original form has become too corrupt and, has become evil. And now that they've returned to their original form, they're back in their evil ways and trying to kill Buddha. So as a whole, the first part of the backstory showing that Zero became evil because of humanity's pretty much horrors, and the evil of humanity caused Zero to become evil, which is pretty decent backstory. But the whole thing with Buddha and him being jealous of Buddha is kinda cucky. They started off by trying to make Zero a likable character, then they just pushed that all away and made him into a jealous crazy god. And then we cut to the fight actually beginning at the end of the chapter. We got Zero, getting ready to attack, pulls his axe back, getting ready to charge Buddha, talking about how he's going to kill Buddha and that he won't regret this at all because it's your fault for making me look like a complete ass. So, he's just jealous, and before he can even fully charge against Buddha, Buddha pretty much speed blitz him and knees him in the chest, making him cough up and deal some pretty decent damage to him. So Buddha still doesn't feel threatened whatsoever by Zero here. This shocks Hermes, Ares, Brunhilde, the referees. Everyone is absolutely shocked after Buddha did this to him so easily. And then for the final line of the chapter, making Buddha still one of the best characters and possibly becoming my favorite character in the series, this is his final line. Sorry, who are you again? And that's the end of the chapter. So yep, pretty, hype stuff at the end. Can't wait for next chapter, chapter 46. I'm assuming the fight's going to actually begin. If it doesn't, that's going to be, the biggest cutscene ever. Maybe a whole chapter of Buddha backstory. But I doubt it. I think next chapter is going to mainly consist of the fight, which is going to be absolute hype. And I still do think Buddha's going to win against him, but I do still have some faith that Zero won't get like Zero diff. But yeah, Buddha has destroyed him so far. Half of Zero's backstory was decent, the other half wasn't that good in my opinion. I didn't really like Buddha's involvement in his backstory and him being jealous. Let me know your thoughts of the chapter down in the comments. But yep, that's it guys, peace.